Thank you, Alexander. Good afternoon, everybody. It has been really wonderful to be a partner in the development of TEEBAgriFood, and in a few minutes I will tell you a little bit more about the Global Alliance for the Future of Food and why we're involved in this work. But earlier we made the reference of Pavan being the mother of this work, and so if we're the father, as was referenced, I guess my objective would be not to become an absentee father over time. So that's what we're going to work toward, being, continuing to be an active partner in this work moving forward. And certainly from my perspective, I'm really excited about what the future holds. So with that, if we could just put my slideshow up. I have just a few slides, and I'll only take about 10 minutes in this session, and then hand it over to, oh, sorry. There it is.
Yeah, you have it?
Yeah, there it is.
Start on the first one.
And then hand it over to my colleagues. The session this morning was really a great way to begin the conversation about applications, to have a little bit of time in groups to kind of grapple with the framework and grapple with a theoretical application. I've used a similar activity in my classes at the University of Toronto, and I've really enjoyed, brainstorming with students about how we can account more fully for food systems activities. So as mentioned, I am with the Global Alliance for the Future of Food, and we are an alliance of philanthropic foundations working together and with others to transform global food systems now and for future generations. We're different than most funder alliances in that we don't have a pooled fund, and we're not really granting from that pooled fund. Instead, we're a strategic alliance interested in working beyond any of the individual efforts of our members, who are all involved in really interesting food systems work around the world from different perspectives, and together thinking about what the strategic opportunity is for us as philanthropic foundations. We have 23 members, some with long-standing work in food systems and some entering food systems and food and agriculture issues more recently. They work at different scales on diverse issues and from really a multitude of perspectives. So some of our members are funding pure agricultural science, like Agropolis in France, as an example. Others, like the Christensen Fund, are really supporting biocultural diversity and the rights of Indigenous people, and so we're working on food sovereignty. And the challenge for us as an alliance is to come together across that diversity and think about what we can do together. Our vision is a healthy, equitable, renewable, resilient, and culturally diverse food system, food systems, shaped by people, communities, and their institutions. And together, we're working to leverage our resources and networks to help transform food systems toward greater sustainability, security, and equity. One of the key elements and defining elements of our work are our principles. And we really evaluate everything that we do through this set of principles. And for us, these principles define what we mean when we talk about sustainable food systems. They're renewable, they're diverse, they're healthy, they're resilient, they're equitable, and they're interconnected. And so when we engage in an initiative like TEEBAgriFood, we're really thinking, does that work reflect this suite of principles? And we're making decisions accordingly. And so these have been a very powerful tool for us to guide our decision making. We work across 4 very interconnected, interrelated impact areas. Conceptually, we think of them as integrated. Practically, we separate them out so that we can talk about them more specifically. So we're working in agroecology, we're working in health and well-being. Most recently, we started an impact area on climate. And most relevant to this conversation, although we see, is our work on true cost accounting. And if agroecology, so we see a sort of agroecology, health and well-being, and climate as sort of drivers of this conversation around food systems, and true cost accounting as an analytical, descriptive, holistic tool to guide and shape and inform that work. So it's really a cross-cutting theme for us. And in our work on true cost accounting, we aim to make visible the full cost of food by investing in efforts to identify, measure, and value the positive and negative environmental, social, and health externalities of food and agricultural systems, and to deploy innovative strategies to affect associated policy and market change. Oops. Good thing I don't need this. So we have a number of kind of objectives in this work. One is to see true cost accounting as a scientifically validated approach that does inform both policy and practice. Also, another objective is to foster and participate and engage in a robust global dialogue on the importance and potential of true cost accounting for food systems. And the discussion that we're having today, for example, on using shared frameworks and tools to inform decision making. And then we have invested heavily in TEEBAgriFood, and really want to lift that up as an example of really the most holistic tool of true cost accounting, analytic tool that we have, and see that tool applied and see the community of people, all of you engaged in this work, grow and build over time. As part of our support of TEEBAgriFood, we also supported a feeder study on maize in Mexico, and I'm not going to go into detail in any of these because Mauricio will describe that work in a few minutes. But we're really excited to work with Conabio and have used the outcomes and the findings from that work to inform our work on resilient seed systems and agricultural biodiversity, which is a foundational part of our work on agroecology. We've also supported the development of a community of practice on true cost accounting. And in that community of practice, we're really grappling with the multiple frameworks that are out there, the associated methodologies, data issues, et cetera. So it's been really great to work with practitioners who are actively building the field of true cost accounting for food systems. And we've supported a few early applications, and I hope that these applications can inform the work that you're doing. You'll hear more about them in a few minutes. The work that you're embarking on, and I hope they're considered part of the UN environment kind of family of applications as they evolve and emerge. So Harpinder will talk in a few minutes about his study on corn systems in the Mississippi Basin. We also commissioned a study on maize in Malawi, looking at the Farm Income Subsidy Program, which was more a political economic analysis, really interesting, of maize in Malawi. And before I leave the applications and what I hope for this panel, building on the discussion we had earlier, is that we can kind of reap some of the lessons learned from these early applications. And I would like to offer 3 observations that I've made. One is that the studies, of course, are really interesting in and of themselves as individual studies. They're very important contributions to the way we think and understand food systems in particular places and contexts. The second observation is that they're interesting as a set. So you can, the maize in Malawi, maize in Mississippi Basin, and even the maize in Mexico study, and that was actually across 3 countries, can be seen as kind of a set that tells us something about corn and maize and the dynamics that shape those production systems, the ecological, social, and political dynamics that shape those production systems. But thirdly, my observation is that we do need, as a community, to do more work to provide guidance to the teams undertaking TEEBAgriFood applications, because it's complicated. And our ambition is to really see these applications widely spread across communities and actors. We would like our foundation members, for example, to apply TEEBAgriFood to their investments and to their programs and do analyses of their investments and programs. But in order to do that, we have to provide guidance to those study teams and tools to guide those applications. So I hope that, together, through the experience of these early applications, we can think about those opportunities. Into the future, the Global Alliance is thinking about developing a True Cost Accounting for Food Systems Accelerator to really mobilize interest in these applications and their synthesis and the analysis of those applications and building the communities of practice and connecting and forging interconnections between communities of practice. We would like to apply TEEBAgriFood applications to build the evidence base for agroecology. There's an emerging idea there. And we would also like to see TEEBAgriFood applications really inform, over the next 2 years, food systems reform ideas and approaches via the global policy processes like the CBD, the UNEP process, and the SDG process. So we feel like these applications can really inform those global policy processes and the dialogue that is happening around them. So with that, I would like to turn it over to the panel. They are going to each tell us about their applications of the framework, the studies themselves, and also what they've learned from the experience. And then we'll be well positioned to continue our discussion into the afternoon about the framework and how to apply it. So first up is Dr. Mauricio Ballon, I think. Oh no, Harpinder, yes, Harpinder Sandhu, sorry, I'm jumping ahead. And Harpinder is from Flinders University in Sydney, Australia, and he has actually, beyond the maize and Mississippi Basin study that he worked on with the Global Alliance for the Future of Food, has also been involved in a number of true cost accounting and TEEB applications. And so he's really has extensive experience working on true cost issues. And from my perspective, knowing Harpinder's work, one of the key gifts he brings to this work is connecting with farmers along the way. And so really approaching his work from that farmer-centered perspective, which I think is essential as we move forward in these applications. So Harpinder, over to you.